Hey everyone, I am back with another video, and in this video we're going over Inktober. I am all set and primed. I have my official 2019 Inktober shirt. I have my Kansas City mug to get us through the very long-winded explanations that I have going on for this video. Let's just get down to the nitty-gritty and start with what is Inktober. Inktober is a 31-day drawing challenge that was first started by a creator named Jake Parker. He wanted to challenge himself in the month of October and create drawings for every single day for the month, and hence Inktober started. I will have all of his information and all the information for Inktober as far as links and all that goes listed down below. Every year, the official Inktober releases a list of 31 prompts for you to follow. It's one of those things where over the course of time, Inktober has kind of given itself a lot of leeway and leniency depending on what type of artist you are and how you want to tackle the challenge. If you want to partake in the challenge, it is up to you how intricate and in-depth you want to go or how laid back and fancy-free. I will say that last year in 2018, I did complete Inktober for the first time ever, and I was kind of getting my feet wet with it, so I went with a theme that was pretty broad, which was mythical creatures. And how I tackled it last year was not only giving myself a lot of leniency, but I created my own prompt list. I didn't share it with anyone because I wanted the flexibility to move things around. I was traveling a lot last October and I didn't know exactly what I would be feeling that particular day. But I will say that I was able to complete it and it made me feel so accomplished and so wonderful. I will say that a couple of the drawings that I did are now available in my shop as stickers. So if you're interested, please be sure to go to the link below, visit my shop, and snag yourself up a sticker. I did also upload into my shop 4 new pins as well. So go check those out if you're interested in any of my style of drawings, but maybe in a little bit different format than just a print. Now we're going to get into the theme that I've chosen for Inktober 2019. The theme that I decided to do is still based off of the prompts that the official Inktober released, but I decided to also put my own little spin and twist on it. I don't know if any of you remember when I did the No F's project where I pulled inspiration from a song, and I decided to be a bit of a glutton for punishment and do that for the entire prompt list for Inktober. I probably spent a good 2.5 weeks just going over each of the words and finding lyrics to them. And I will say, for the most part, I have found lyrics and a song that correlate that I kind of like, and I have created a playlist on my Spotify. So if you would like to follow along with every song for every day, please check out that link below as well. I really try to diversify between metal, rock, pop, some like a very small hint of like old style country, but for the most part, I think I stayed around the realm of alternative. It may not be everyone's cup of tea, but for those moments while I was searching, that's the song that worked for me, that's the lyric that worked for me, and we're just gonna go with it. Now is the time where we're going to go over materials. The first thing that's very important is the sketchbook that I'm using. At first I was going to be using loose leafed watercolor pages, but the more I thought about it, especially because I'm not going to be in my studio every single day, I figured this is the best way to get the job done. I used a sketchbook last year. The smaller format made it so much easier, especially with some of the ideas that I have in my head. I could see them getting way too big and grandiose and me not being able to finish on time. So this is going to be the perfect format for me. This is the Trav E Log Handbook by Global Arts Materials. I think this is a Speedball sketchbook, and I've only used it a little bit, but I already know, I already think I'm gonna like it. Next up is the ink. So I had to transfer my Speedball ink into this glass container because the top was getting gross and the container itself was starting to like do weird things. And so I transferred it into this glass, but this is for my dip pens. I don't use brushes with this ink. I have a different type of ink that I use with brushwork. But this for me is very opaque. It's very waterproof and it just works for me. And I love it with my dip pens. So that's the ink for me. And I even bought a backup jar just in case. Another one in the ink category is Dr. P.H. Martin's Black Star. I also have a whole bunch of Winsor & Newton inks as well as more Dr. P.H. Martin's and Bombay, which I will kind of do a nice little cutaway for you. But for the most part, I'm going to keep this more of a black, white, and then watercolor type of thing. For the most part with the watercolor, I'm going to be using pretty muted tones, a lot of Payne's gray. There will be some that has like pops of color here and there, but for the most part, the ink is going to be the main focal point. That's going to be the main thing that sticks out, because that's the whole point of this challenge. This is something that I have never used before. It is the pen cleaner. And I wanted to try this out because one of my nibs is a little bit gunked up right now. And so I wanted to see if this, soaking the nib in this, would help kind of remove some of that gunk along. But we'll see. We'll see how this works and I will report back at the end of October. I also have some dip pens. These are both from Speedball, and these are the ones I've used pretty consistently throughout this past year. Last year is the first time that I started to use dip pens and fell in love with them, and so I wanted to carry on that tradition for this Inktober. Next is this dip pen set, which is by Manuscript. I've never really heard of this brand before, but I wanted to try them out. And it comes with a nice handle, 3 nibs, and a little bottle of ink. So I have yet to test this out, actually. I will be doing that soon, not in the sketchbook, but on different paper, just to see if I like the ink, if it's waterproof, because I have no idea if it's water soluble or not. So we'll see how that goes. When I am not going to be in my studio, I will most likely use my Sakura Micron Fineliners. I have a few. They range from 005 to basically a brush tip. And I really like these for on the go. I used these last year before I switched to dip pens primarily. And you know, these are always a good choice. Also very important is an eyedropper. An eyedropper. And mine has water in it. I really like this to not only dilute inks that I have, especially for the P.H. Martins. It's also really good if you want blooms in different parts of your paper that you don't necessarily want to dip your brush in. Next up is my water container, and it's just a mason jar. I tend to like the shorter ones instead of the really tall ones, just because it's easier to get my brush down at the bottom without all the water going into the ferrule. That's just a preference for me, but you can use any type of container. Preferably one that you're not going to want to use like to drink out of or like or anything else, because it does get stained after a while. But this one has been with me for years and I don't think I'm gonna get rid of it anytime soon. I believe that leaves us with brushes, which with ink, I'm not like a huge brush fan. One of my favorite wash brushes is this Master's Touch 22 round, and it holds so much water, but the downside is it also holds a lot of ink. So you have to kind of be careful when you're trying to do light washes, because you may think that you don't have enough ink and then you plop it down and it's like just right there. And with ink, you have to work really fast or else it'll start to stain the paper. But I really do like this brush for washes. And for more detailed work, I use this Princeton Select Chisel Blender. I'm not sure if any of you remember this one, but I got this during my gouache review. I believe it was a car haul and gouache review, and I just really like it. I do not use my good Escoda brushes or my silver black velvet ones because ink can sometimes stain, and I don't want it ruining the bristles because they were kind of expensive. So I'm only using those for the watercolor, but I'm not really including it since it doesn't have to do with the ink portion of it. But just know for the watercolor portions, I'm going to be using my Escoda and my silver black velvet. Really, for my under drawings, all I'm using is a BIC Mechanical Pencil. Easy peasy. Sometimes I'll probably use my Prismacolor, but I do plan to live stream on my Instagram quite a few times while I'm drawing just to have that communal feel. But for YouTube, I'm going to kind of go more in depth with the song and the meaning and why I picked the lyric and everything like that. But it's going to be more of an overview instead of time-lapse drawings. All right, everyone, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Be sure to check out all the links that I mentioned before down below, and I will talk to you later. Bye.